So these are assembly instructions for my just horsing around treat box. So I have two main pieces that are the walls of my box. Both pieces are identical and I'm just folding down on all score lines. So on both pieces I have a thin side tab on the right. I'm just putting glue from the score line to the edge all over that tab. And then I'm bringing the cut edge of my other piece right up to the score line, making sure that both pieces are even at the top and the score lines are even at the bottom. And I'm just gluing that panel in place. While my piece is still flat, it's easier to decorate the sides. I have my decorative panels to begin with, and I'm just alternating the two colors. I have this 80-pound cardstock in this lavender color, and this is Cricut cardstock. And then I have this shimmer paper in an ivory. And I'm just going to glue them down, trying to maintain an even border all the way around my panels. I've glued down my 6 panels. I have these decorative shapes for the top. So for the filigree decorations, I used this removable vinyl in the gold color. And I like this because it comes in 12 by 12 sheets, so it's easy to store with my cardstock. And I like to use vinyl on a lot of my cardstock projects. Now this says removable, but once you put it on cardstock, it really does stay put. I've weeded my vinyl and took some very well used transfer tape to adhere the vinyl to my cardstock. So I've just alternated my colors again. I'm putting glue on the underside of my decorated panels. So it should be flush at the top and even on both sides. And I'm doing that for all 6 panels. So now that I've glued those down, I have a thin strip which I have cut out of gold cardstock. And I'm just temporarily putting it up against the score line. I'm not gluing this down yet, I'm just using it to place my carousel horses. My horses are print and cut that I have glued onto a black backing, and that's just to give them a little bit more definition. So I have 3 different colors and I want to alternate them. So I'm putting glue on the underside of my horses. I'm holding that gold strip right above the score line, and then I'm placing my horse so that it is centered horizontally on my panel, like so. And then I'm just gluing it down. And I'm going to do that with all 6 of my horse images. So if you want to change the colors of the horses, you just need to unflatten the horse images and then alter the colors to your liking and then flatten them again. I've glued down my 6 horses, and now that my panels are decorated, I'm going to flip my piece over so that I'm looking at the inside. And I'm folding over one end and I'm putting glue all over the side tab from the score line to the edge. And then I'm folding over the other end and gluing that cut edge right to the score line of my tab. The top should be even and the bottom score lines should be even as well. So next I have 2 hexagons. One of them is cut out of craft board and the other one is cut out of cardstock. The craft board one is slightly smaller than the cardstock one. So that's the one I'm going to use first. So I have the walls of my box and I'm just putting glue all over those 6 tabs at the bottom. I have the decorated side of my walls laying flat on my craft mat, and I'm just putting glue from the score line to the edge on all 6 of those tabs. And so next I'm popping my box up with those bottom tabs folded towards the inside of my shape, like so. So I'm looking at all that glue, and then I'm taking my craft board piece and I'm lowering it into my shape. So I'm just pushing on those walls, making sure that I'm gluing down my hexagon properly. And so next I'm going to flip my piece over. I'm covering the underside of my cardstock hexagon in glue. And then I'm just gluing it at the bottom of my box. I'm going to flip my box over and I'm going in with my bone folder and I'm just spreading that glue. So next I'm taking those 2 gold cardstock strips. I'm putting glue on the underside of them. I'm starting at one of the seams. I'm just wrapping that strip, making sure that I'm laying it as flat as possible right along the bottom of my box. I have a little bit extra, which is exactly what I wanted. Like, I didn't want to be short, so I'm just snipping it off. So I've covered half my box. Now I'm doing the same thing with my second strip. And again, I've got a little bit of extra. I'm just snipping it off. So that's the bottom of my box done. I'm moving on to the lid. So these are my lid pieces. I have 2 of them, and I'm folding down on all the score lines for them as well. So the tricky score lines for this are the little tabs at the bottom, and I'm carefully folding down on them. On both pieces I have a tab on the right hand side, so I'm just choosing one of them and putting glue from the score line to the edge. And then I'm gluing my second shape right down, so I want the points to be all even at the top and the score lines to meet up in a point at the bottom. And so then I have my decorative triangles for my roof, and just like for the bottom, I want to alternate the colors. I'm just gluing them down, trying to keep an even border between the edges of my shape and the score lines of my base. So now that my roof piece is decorated, I'm going to put glue on that remaining tab from the score line to the edge. And I want the cut edge of that piece to be right along the score line of my tab. And then I'm going in with my bone folder in the interior and just spreading that glue. So next I have those little flaps at the bottom. I'm putting glue on those tabs at the bottom, so from the score line to the edge. I'm placing the cut edge of one side right along the score line of the tab to join the sides together. And I'm working my way around the shape, doing that for all 6 tabs. So next I have these 2 strips, and I've cut them out of patterned cardstock. And I have a little tab on the right hand side, so I'm putting glue from the score line to the edge and joining my 2 strips together at that score line. So next I'm flipping my piece over and then covering the underside in glue. I'm starting with my side tab. I want that score line right at the seam of one of my rooftop pieces. And then I'm just stretching my piece along the bottom of my shape. Like so. And then I'm just going in with my bone folder and I'm just spreading that glue. So next I have these thin gold strips, and I'm basically doing the same thing with them. These are very thin, so I'm putting glue on the underside of them. I could have cut these out of vinyl as well. It probably would have been easier to apply them. And I'm gluing this thin strip just to the top of that band that I've just glued in. And so then I have the same strips for the bottom, and I'm just going to apply them the same way. And so next I have 6 sets of these decorative pieces. So I've used more of that vinyl to decorate my stars. I have 3 of them in that ivory color and 3 of them in that lavender color. So then I have these fun shapes, and I have some ovals that fit inside. So I have 3 ivory and 3 lavender ovals. And then to be consistent with the rest of my project, I'll be gluing down the opposite colors of my little stars in the ovals. My lavender star goes on my ivory oval, and my ivory star goes on my lavender oval. I'm just going to glue these down as you see here, trying to center everything as much as possible. So that now that I've decorated these panels, I'm just putting glue on the underside of them. I've got a lavender oval and an ivory triangle, and I'm gluing this down, trying to center it as best I can in the center of this triangle. And I'm centering it best I can vertically as well on that band. I'm working my way around my lid piece, gluing these in place and alternating the colors. Then I have this one piece that I've cut out of that gold foil cardstock, and I fold it down on all the score lines, and I'm putting glue on the underside of it. So I'm just gluing it down to the very top of my roof piece, like so. And the score lines should go along the score lines of my roof piece. Next, I'm just putting the lid on my box. So that's my horsing around treat box.